welcome Rites to Ruin to the Razor's Edge. Pleasure to see you.
Hello.
And
Hello.
exciting times for you all coming up. So, starting with Chrissy, let's introduce everyone to the band and tell us what you do, and then you can also let us know who's missing as well.
Hi, I'm Chrissy and I'm the lead vocalist. Matt.
I'm Matt and I play rhythm guitar.
Lee.
I'm Lee. I play lead guitar. Paul.
And I'm Paul, the low frequency rumble conjurer.
And we're missing Tom, our drummer.
We're missing Tom. Brilliant. Okay, so how are you all, guys? Everyone well?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Good. And for those of you that went to Bloodstock, as we were just talking about, you've all come back with no lurgy, just me that brought the virus back. So everyone else okay, yeah?
Yeah, doing all right.
Good stuff. Okay, so for those that don't know, obviously you formed in 2019.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
give us a little bit of history about how Rites to Ruin came about. I don't.
Okay. Originally, myself and Matt were both in Triaxis. Matt came in to replace CJ when her and Giles left to have their family. So after I'd hung up my mic for a little bit, I, like every performer, I got the itch again, and I messaged Matt saying, shall we meet up over that bastion of meals, the Toby Carvery, and discussed a possible project, and it went from there. So yeah. Tom, who's our drummer, went to school with Matt. They've been friends for years. I think, if I'm correct, Matt will tell me if I'm wrong, this is their first band they've been in together.
Well,
outside of school.
Yeah, well, we started at school and had a band, and then kind of both went off into other bands, doing our own thing for years and years, and then it was finally a chance to actually play together in a proper band.
So, and then we put feelers out for a guitarist and bassist. We had a bassist lined up originally, but unfortunately, it did another Paul, funnily enough, and it also another LARPer and reenactor Paul. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. So Lee joined us on lead guitar, and then Paul came and tried out for us, and the rest is.
The rest is the last 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, which hasn't really gone as planned.
So let's get that out of the way. Obviously, you were all ready as a band. You'd formed. You'd started writing and stuff, and then, as we keep saying in interviews, then all shit didn't break loose. Everything locked down. So
yeah.
For you guys, where were you in your initial journey when COVID actually first hit?
We had just announced our first date, which was happening in the April. That was going to be our launch show with Fury and Dekesis.
Yeah. And
then lockdown hit. So yeah, we were ready to start going out and doing sets. Ideally, openers and middle of the bill. But wasn't to be.
So what kind of impact did it have on you in terms of, obviously everyone ground to a halt initially, but what happened then in terms of trying to get the wheels moving again as you could? How did you cope with that?
I think we all personally kind of took full advantage of social media and the internet and home recording. I think that was I think that's what I kind of saw on my end, where there are a lot of, it kind of put everyone in the same sort of playing field in terms of, like, we're all kind of like now at the same level. Even like high-end artists were having to do online content to try and get their material out or a show out. So I think that's where we kind of just thought just stick at writing and recording.
Yeah, everything went online. So it was just a case of trying to come up with ideas for content. Obviously, because we were so early in the Rites to Ruin progression, there wasn't much to start with, but then we started brainstorming ideas and just coming up with bits and pieces. We were still writing and trying to get as much written as we could. And it's been interesting.
So when did you guys first manage to get back as a band physically after lockdown? Was it last summer, was it?
Yeah, last August.
Yeah.
So, and that's when we decided we would do the live stream.
Yeah.
And we rehearsed for that to make sure that everything was as good as it could be, and went up to Capsark Studios and filmed that, and a little segment as well for their Power Quest Fest.
Yeah. So you were obviously keen to get some music out. That's one of the key things for any band, is obviously to have some content out so that people can actually listen to it. And you got the first track, Santanico, out. The demo's was out on Spotify relatively quickly. I've got two questions about that track, because it's a song that when I listen to it, the ending still catches me out. So question one is, how many of you have been caught out by the ending? Or how long did it take you to actually hone that? Or are you...
It was quite natural, actually. I mean, it's weird. It's weird that it ends on a verse.
Yeah.
And it does just end, but it just felt right when we were writing it and we came up with it. And it was like, yeah, that's a good place to stop. It doesn't need any more. That works for us.
Yeah. And what about the obviously it was the first piece of music that you put out. What was the response like from the World Wide Web, the social media, the people that heard it? Was there much feedback? Did you get a lot?
We got quite a bit. Obviously, thankfully, because of the Triaxis connection, when we put up the Facebook page and all those social media outlets, we got immediately a bank of followers, which I'm very grateful for, because you never know how many are going to come across. So the feedback we had from them was really cool, and it was really nice to have people saying it's so good to see you back, and it's so good to see you with a new band, and it's really nice to see different people, and it's a bit of a change. It's because Santanico is very much more hard rock than the heavy metal side of stuff.
Yeah.
But the feedback was really, really lovely. It was heartwarming.
I think it was really good as well, because Lee actually did a lot of the kind of recording and mixing on that himself. So it was a proper DIY job. And
Matt did the video.
The stupid video to join it, yeah. But yeah, Lee did a really good job on that. But I think as a kind of first bit of music to release, I think a lot of people were kind of accepting that because of all the lockdown, it wasn't going to be studio quality, high-end kind of thing. It was a bit rough and ready, but Lee did a good job on that.
He did.
Excellent. And then you talked about the live stream, which obviously happened in October, and that was at a time when live streams were becoming de rigueur, if you like. Everyone was having a go, because that was about all that you could put out there. Was there pressure? Did you feel that was something that you had to do as musicians, or you wanted to do to put it out there? What was the reasoning behind it?
For me personally, it was a want and a need for me. I was itching to get back to performing. It's very intrinsic to who I am. I've missed it. So I was desperate to get back to doing something. Yeah. And it was really good, because it meant that it kind of took away cobwebs and any jitters, because it was just us and the Dekesis guys who run Capsarks. And there was nobody else around, so there was no pressure, so you could just relax and go with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the boys felt that way, but that's how I felt.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Well, it gave you the opportunity to play a gig and to actually do a show.
Yeah.
And then the one 10 minutes later, because they filmed a different one. And it was good to actually get in there and be able to stand on a stage with an amplifier thumping behind you and be able to go, yes, I'm doing this now. This is very good. Thank you.
Welcome to Paul.
Yeah.
I quite like that. That's concise.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, not bad.
We done it 'cause we liked to do it, and it was fun.
But it was a bit strange, just kind of like Chrissy said, playing to the guys into Keeses.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a couple of people trying to do a live set to a few people, but then, you know, most of us are kind of used to that amount of people at gigs anyway sometimes, so we've all come from that.
Every gig's a stadium gig.
That's it.
Yeah.
We know
I
that,
thought
and I
that
wasn't going to be so
optimum, too.
cruel as to say that must be you must be used to that
Natural,
kind of volume.
yeah.
Because that's not true. But
There
what
were more
about
people,
sorry, Paul?
more people than I was used to.
Oh.
3 men
Okay.
and a dog, easily.
As a just as an aside, not with Rights to Ruin, but there was lots of talk as the streams started coming out, and people were saying this is a way in which music can expand. This could be the future. This is a way in which bands can get across to fans. What's your personal views on live streams? Do they serve a purpose, or are they something that you think will never replace? Well, they won't replace live music, but are they an option for the future?
I think so.
I think it's a
think-
good one.
I think it's good to have another medium. It's good to be able to go to somewhere like Capsarks and record a whole set that you can then put up online for people to enjoy, because then you have the opportunity to interact at the same time as people watching it and be there in the chat room with them, which you can't do at a gig until you come off stage, and by which point there's either a DJ playing or a headline band if you're lower down the bill, and you're having to shout over the music. So at least in this way, you can actually just casually interact with people without having to stretch the voice or just try and be heard.
Yeah.
I think it's got a place for the future, definitely. And I personally, I've loved them during lockdown. So
It's been a good way of getting the live show to people who wouldn't necessarily be able to get along to the shows as well. You know, if either their bands aren't playing near them or they're struggling to get out to the shows, it kind of brings it to them, really. It's always a bit weird, and it's never going to be the same as a live show, but it's definitely served a purpose for the last 18 months or so.
Yeah. So when that one fan in Sao Paulo says, "When are you coming to see me?" you can do the live stream instead, and satisfy that. Yeah.
Well, that's it. You know, fans want the gig in their front garden at the minute, so live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed Julian getting a bit annoyed the other day with Fury about the fact they're playing 2 gigs within an hour of Leeds, and people are going, "When are you coming to Leeds?" So yeah, sure.
You're never going to please everybody, unfortunately. So
okay, let's talk Fire. Obviously, it's in the background of Chrissy and Matt, and the new 4-track EP. It's fading in and out. It looks very nice. Ironically, it probably features tracks that you're over now and have moved on to new stuff to a certain extent, because that's the way that music releases work.
You'd think that,
well,
but because of lockdown, we're still playing them to keep them fresh.
Yeah, okay.
But we are writing other stuff. So
of course. So tell me about the EP, the recording, the choice of the tracks. Were they the first 4, or were they the most appropriate 4 that you decided for the EP, and the reason for the EP rather than an album? What's the package around it?
Well, we wanted to get something out as quickly as possible, because a lot of places now don't book you unless you have something that they can listen to in advance, and 2 songs is not enough so you need more. So these 4 we have rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. We felt confident with them. They just were the natural choice to go onto the EP while we carry on writing and writing. And then we can look at album towards the end of 2022, early 2023. That was basically it. So yeah.
That's all we managed to do before lockdown.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you try. I found it really difficult to write lyrics during lockdown. I prefer to be sat in the room and listening to the instruments playing and getting a feel for it and how the boys are playing it, to then start coming up with ideas. Because then we've got one song where I've come up with about 17 different themes for it already, because it's brilliant and it'll fit pretty much anything. But yeah, I much rather be in the room with the guys.
Yeah. And what about the actual getting the tracks recorded and everything? How did that work out?
So we actually recorded with Ian Davies, who I think we're his first outside band. He's done a lot of recording for himself and his own band Endeavour.
Yeah.
So we were chatting to him, and he was quite happy to kind of help record and mix and master the EP for us. And a lot of that was going down to his place to do the guitars and the vocals and things like that, and just a lot of chucking a mix back at us, getting some feedback, and then working on it again and sending it back and backwards and forwards like that for a while until we got somewhere where we were all happy. And now it's finally gone to press and should be out soon.
2 weeks, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah. September 6th.
Yeah. So having had the joy of the little listen in advance to do the review, one of the things that I felt you guys had nailed perfectly was the actual flow of the EP. So I think the actual way it starts and the track order works really well. So
thank you.
So you're welcome. Tell me whether it was, I mean, everyone puts, you don't just throw these things together. So that was obviously, I'm assuming there was some thought process behind which order they ran in, or am I being overthinking?
Well, we all kind of had a bit of a debate, didn't we? We kind of just, there's a few different ways we kind of wanted the tracks. Yeah. And then we kind of just.
But they all eventually went for the one I originally posited, which is good.
Yeah, that one.
Chrissy likes to let us think that we have some say in these things. Whereas in actual fact, it's just what she wants.
Yeah.
Eva.
So, in terms of the obviously the songs themselves they're all very different in terms of tempo and everything else. You know, the final track, which I messaged you about the other day, Chrissy, which blew me away when I heard it the first time, and has continued to blow me away every time I listen to it. Obviously, has that lovely dip in the middle, which then kicks back out, and then Rise obviously has, to me, a slightly kind of Eastern Oriental feel to it a little bit in there. And then obviously we're all relatively familiar with Santanico now, and Forsaken is the kind of tub thumping opening track. Are those the songs that you felt actually these are the ones that we really want to showcase? Would they be the real standard bearers? Because they were the ones that you used in the stream as well, weren't they?
Yeah. I'd say it's purely based on the fact that they were the ones that were most rehearsed and that we were most comfortable with.
Yeah.
We're still writing, we're still honing all the other stuff. So it was just a case of these are the 4 we're really comfortable with. We want to do something exclusive, because once this EP is sold, once every copy of this EP is gone, that's it. It will never be reproduced.
Yeah.
The only song off the EP that will end up on a future album is Fire itself. All the other songs won't be reproduced.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. I mean, it was something that I'd done previously before with Triaxis when we had the Lord of the Northern Sky EP. We had 3 songs on that and a cover of Wasted Years, and it was just something to get out there. And it was one of those things that I think that every band should just get their first batch of songs out on an EP, out into general circulation, and send them around promoters and bookers, because it'll just get you heard. So yeah. That was it.
It's quite a good.
It's a marketing ploy.
It's quite a good mix of songs. It's a good mix of our songs as well, because it's kind of showing a lot of different things. As you say, each song is its own entity as such. I think part of that is we're still finding our sound. I mean, like I might come to the band with a bit of a song, and Lee will come with a bit of a song. So we're still kind of trying to merge everything together to find the sound. But I think I find I wouldn't want every song to sound the same. I think there's a lot of bands where you hear a song and you know it's them by the sound of that song. You might not know the song, but you know it's by them. And as much as you want that recognition, you don't want every song to sound the same. It needs, variation and everything to be its own thing,
And luckily, we've got one songwriter in the shape of Matt who tries to put every single riff that he and then we see who's so relaxed, it's like, there's a song done.
Fire is my baby.
Yeah.
Fire is actually reduced down from over 10 minutes to the 7 or 7.5 minutes. It's now. Yeah.
They wouldn't let me have it all.
Man, too many riffs. I mean, we got to keep some back for other tracks.
So is there options live for Fire to expand?
No,
I don't think that.
Don't put that massive.
Don't give him ideas, for crying out loud.
Okay, while we're on the subject, let's do the promo for Fire. Obviously out on the 6th of September, and you've had a couple of months with the media build up and the promo and the merch bundles and stuff. So floor is yours. Tell us all about it. Where can people get it? What are the options that are still available?
Okay, so we have a standard bundle still available. Obviously, our mega bundle was a limited time offer because it had credits to go into the CD sleeve itself. So we have standard bundles available, which include a CD, T-shirt, pin badges, plectrums, and a signed poster. We have posters available, pin badges available, plectrums available, CDs. You can get all this on our merch store. So if you head over to ritesToRuin.co.uk, there are links there to our merch store, or there is a direct link in our Facebook page. I believe it's a buy now button at the top of the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/ritesToRuin. You can pre-save currently on Spotify. So you'd need to
iTunes.
Yeah, it'll be on iTunes.
I spotted that earlier.
Yeah, it's available for pre-order on Amazon. So you can pre-order it to purchase for your own digital library on Amazon and iTunes, but you can also save it on Spotify as a pre-save for your playlists.
And you should also buy a copy so that you have a nice hard copy as well.
Yes, because there are only 500.
Indeed.
And that's it.
Good, great. And the 6th of September. So is there a plan for any kind of exciting launch day or?
Literally a load of posts going out to say it's available. and me pressing available now on the merch store.
Brilliant.
We might have a cake.
We may have a cake.
I think we should have a cake. I think we should have a cake.
It has to be gluten and dairy free though, which is
maybe we could have 2 cakes.
I do know a lady who does make incredible gluten and dairy free cakes.
There we go.
Okay, let's move on from cake, but we can link it to cakes because the last album launch that Christy Kirby was involved in, 0 Hour, involved cake.
That's what made me remember. Yeah.
So let's talk about live music for Rites to Ruin and live shows, and will there be cake?
There will be cake there will be cake when we do our Rites to Ruinmas shows, which I have every intention of reinstigating after the Traxxas shows. But there won't be cake at the first lot of shows now. Maybe, or maybe the December one, maybe the one in December with Fury and Dekesis. I might bring cake because it's just after my birthday.
So the first date, when is that?
Currently, it's the 22nd of December. That's what we've got currently confirmed. That's in the Exchange in Bristol.
Yeah, and that is with Fury and Dekesis in support. Yeah.
Yes, and there is another band because it's the Bristol Rock Centre Christmas Bash. So I know Richard, who co-owns Bristol Rock Centre, his band is playing, but unfortunately I can't remember the name of the band. It's really bad of me. So there are 4 bands that night.
Yeah.
And we do have another booking for April. It's really sporadic at the minute because, of course, everything's been shunted into these next 8-9 months for all the rescheduled shows that couldn't be rescheduled at the last time we had a break from lockdown. So yeah, I'm still looking, I'm still trying to book, but I'm trying to be sensible with our booking because we all work full time. Yeah. So it has to fit in with the day job, unfortunately. So there you are. There's the glamorous side of being in a band, that you've got to make your gigs fit in with your day job.
Well, it applies to everyone. It applies to Orange Goblin, as we know. So
yes.
Yeah. So all of them. But that's a date for the diary, and certainly I'm sure that there'll be a few of us from the South Wales region will manage to troll across the bridge. I'm sure we'll be doing that on a regular basis at the moment. Brilliant. Okay, let's finish off with a couple of maybe more relaxed, fun questions. Now, having spent a couple of weekends ago with a certain diva who spent most of the weekend dying to get on stage with Devin Townsend.
Oh, God, yes.
Question, maybe not so much for Christy, because I kind of know what her view is, but what about the other ones of you? Have you got an idol that you would give an arm, but that would be bloody useless then, because you wouldn't be able to jam with them, but that you would ideally like, if you had an offer of an hour to spend with a musician that you would really like to do, who would that be?
Oh, so many to choose from. I would probably have to say, personally, for me, it would be a guy called Rabir Masad, who is a YouTuber and musician in a band called, or was in a band called Tosca, who's now unfortunately called it a day because of COVID and other commitments. But yeah, that would who I would love to spend an hour with.
Okay. Paul?
Me? For some reason I think Victoria Corin Mitchell, but she's not a band person. There is a Canadian band called Lutharo that I've been following recently, and they're very, very good at what they do, very Warlock-esque in the way that the vocals sound. And I wouldn't mind meeting up with them and saying their bass player, go away, I'll take over. That'll do me for now.
Yeah.
Matt?
What about you, Matt?
It'll probably have to be Tool. They are my most favourite band ever. So yeah, just to go and jam with them would be amazing.
I'm not going to leave you out, Christy, because you could say Devin, but you might surprise me with someone else. I don't know.
Well, Devon's obviously number one on the list, but a very close, well, actually, a joint number one is Iron Maiden. I've always wanted to be on stage with Iron Maiden, probably hanging onto Bruce's leg and just hugging it, because I just I'm a paid up member of the Iron Maiden fan club for more years than I'd care to mention. So yeah,
He'd probably just carry on running round then.
Yeah. It's like, who is this Welsh bird? Get her off me.
Okay.
You're the one that's been sending me all those letters.
Shh. We said we would never speak of this, Matthew.
Okay. And one final question then. So last year and so far this year, there's been, I suppose, in some respects, even more music put out than maybe would have been if bands had been touring and stuff. Give me a couple of albums that stood out for you in the last 18 months or so that you listened to, new stuff that you actually thought, wow, that's really worth listening to.
Devin Townsend's Empath. Without a shadow of a doubt. That got me through that just before lockdown it came out and got me through lockdown. So yeah. Also his the live one he put out recently, that was superb. Just his acoustic set. I can't remember the actual name of it, but it was I think it's called the Deconstruction Sessions or something.
I think you're right, yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
I can see the cogs whirring.
Yeah,
I'm really terrible.
Yeah, can't think of the
Really
name.
terrible.
A number of bands that got me through the last couple of times. First lockdown, Frozen Cran.
Yeah.
And the most recent ones has been Lord of the Lost. Judas album has been stunning. I've recently latched onto a band called Sumo Psycho.
Yeah.
The imagery in the videos is quite twisted, and I quite like that. It's quite good. If Tom was here, he'd probably mention Baby Metal. Probably.
Yeah.
There's one singer that I discovered in lockdown. Now, it's not metal, but she's Carlien. She does quite a folky, beautiful harmonies, but she's also quite gothic. And her stuff was incredible. And I accidentally came across her because she did a cover of When the World Falls Down from Labyrinth by David Bowie. And it's stunning. She's got one of these ethereal voices that just lifts everything up. So she's also worth checking out if you want something slightly different.
Cool. Matt, I'm slightly concerned by the grunt about Tom and Baby Metal. There was a kind of resigned grunt there. So clearly there's something that's maybe for another interview.
Oh, it's just when he turned up to practice on Sunday, just gone. That's all he was going on about. He was playing it when he turned up. He kept playing it in between songs, and then afterwards he was playing more Baby Metal.
But he does this. He goes through these spells of
His phases.
Phases. It's like back last summer, it was Fit for a King.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
All he played.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And there you go. There's another band that was great through lockdown, Fit for a King. So yeah, it's
Ginger. I found Ginger. And I was so unhappy that they didn't play Bloodstock in the end. That was my main band for going.
Aww.
What about you, Lee? Anything stand out for you, Lee?
I've not been one for real heavy music, but I suppose Gojira is one band I've been really listening to lately, and Fortitude and Magma, the two albums.
Yes.
For me, it's just their sound is just incredible. So that led me on to watching some of their YouTube stuff of like a live concert, and even just like the energy from it, it's just insane. So for me, Gojira.
Yeah, they were. I think they were a band that actually made Internal Organs move when I saw them many years ago in the Great Hall in Cardiff when they split the hall in two, and there were about 300 people there, and they came on and played Backbone, and I'm sure that my backbone just kind of
it's a different entity altogether.
Yeah,
Gojira.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have to see them live. I have to see them. Yeah,
great.
They're excellent live. They
are good live. Brilliant. That's a fine note to end it on. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Fingers
thank you.
That,
thank you.
The 6th goes well. I have no doubt that it will, and I'm looking forward to my mega bundle. So
Yay!
we'll look forward to it, and we shall see you, if not before, on the 22nd. Enjoy your weekend, Chrissy, and I don't know if
Oh, I will.
everyone else is dressing up as well this weekend. That's between you, really. But
All right, princess.
great. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks,
Look
Paul.
after yourselves. See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website www.therazorsedge.rocks.